Hey guys, it's Esteban again with Incognitistic. Today I want to talk about a dark topic that's been flooding the media lately and has been for a little while, but there's been quite the spike in the last few days, is mass homicides. And this is something that is extremely dark and unfortunately present in the world today. And I'm not sure why it's more prevalent lately, but it is. And I want to talk about different ways to better the odds of you surviving an incident like this if you're caught in the middle of one. If you're not ready to talk about this type of topic, it's going to be dark and it's going to contain violence. So please move on to another video. I completely respect that and understand. For those of you who remain, I just want to give a few tips. And this is not the end-all of tips for surviving a mass homicide event like the one that happened in Australia or Brown University. It's just a few tips that can help you survive. And this is coming from myself as a law enforcement officer, or at least retired law enforcement officer. And I used to give trainings on how to survive these kind of incidents to both the community and staff at different school campuses. So let's start off with the most important thing, is that if possible, you have to know the difference between cover and concealment. Cover is something that is going to stop a bullet most likely. So a concrete pillar is cover. A car engine is usually cover. Something that is going to stop that round from getting through to you is cover. Concealment is something that's going to hide you, but won't necessarily stop a bullet. So if you hide behind a bush, that's concealment. If you hide behind the door of a vehicle, that's concealment usually. So know the difference between the two. The next thing is to know your surroundings. And it might be your surroundings at work, your surroundings at home, your surroundings in your neighborhood, the surroundings of anywhere you go to. Just at first glance, and it seems dark to do this, and really as human beings we shouldn't do this, but identify what you can use as cover and what you can use as concealment if you needed to. You go to a park and you see that there are concrete planters. Those are great forms of cover. You go to a botanical garden and you see giant shrubs that seem impossible to get through. Those are great concealment. So just analyze, assess your surroundings, because you being vigilant and you knowing what's going to be good cover and concealment can definitely give you a one up. The next thing is know your exits. So wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a classroom, an office building, your home, make sure you know where those exits are and know that there are multiple exits, know where they are. So for instance, if you're in a classroom, some classrooms only have one door, but oftentimes they'll have several windows. And so know that you can escape. The other thing that you should know is that the run, hide, fight model is not a flowchart. You use whatever is necessary and whatever works for the occasion. So if you can hear the shooting coming closer and closer, it's up to you to assess what to do. Same as if you hear the shooting getting further and further. So you can run if you feel that that's an option, And when you run, I always recommend that you run in a zigzag pattern because it's much more difficult to hit something that is running in a zigzag and a chaotic zigzag than somebody who's running in a straight line. So if you have to hide, make sure you do your best to barricade everything that you can use. So if you're stuck in a classroom per se, use all the furniture possible to barricade that door. You can research different videos on how to do that, how to barricade yourself. But also make sure that you turn your phone on silent and you don't make a sound. Turn lights off, turn radios off, turn any source of diversion that could cause a suspect to notice you off. And then of course you get to the fight section, and there's something that I have to tell you about fighting. So it's probably going to hurt. Fighting, even without the sense of somebody trying to kill you, can hurt. But you got to remember that during these situations, when you decide that fighting is the only option, it's the difference between you going home or the person trying to kill you getting to do that. So one of the things that I didn't mention earlier when we were talking about our environment is to make sure that you see what you can use as a weapon if this fighting possibility occurs. And the different kinds of weapons that you can use are anything from a metal pen to a fire extinguisher to the pole that a flag is connected to. And so a pen can definitely cause damage if you were to stab somebody through into their eyeball and start spinning it around. That'll definitely disable somebody. Also a fire extinguisher, using that to knock somebody in the head can definitely stop somebody. It'll cause damage. And then of course the pole, oftentimes with a little spear spike, if you stab somebody in the face or hit them real hard anywhere, it should cause the ability for you to take that person's weapon away, or to run away. So I mean, you don't have to disarm the person, but getting distance from that person is your goal. Surviving is the goal. If you choose to disarm the person and you feel capable of it, then that's great. But study your options, know your options, and remain safe. The last thing that I want to tell you during these situations is that if you get wounded, if you get shot, if you get stabbed, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to die. It'll hurt. But if it hurts, most likely you can survive because you're still feeling it, you're still alive. So do whatever you can to take that person down if it comes down to it. And then, of course, there is the option of playing dead. And sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. Is the person or people that are perpetrating the mass homicide, are they actually trying to just blindly kill everybody? Is there a target? Are you able to identify that? Oftentimes, if you play dead, they can overlook you, unless, of course, they're shooting randomly at everything. But again, that's up to you to decide. So, also, if you can, while you're running, hiding, or fighting, and of course, if you're hiding, of course, do it discreetly, but call 911. Give them as much information as possible. This is done preferably after you get to safety. But get description, get anything that could help law enforcement and first responders identify and neutralize the target, because that's the number one goal of law enforcement. And should law enforcement come while you are running away, know that they are not going to be friendly. Know that they have one task in mind, and that's making sure that the people that are coming at them are not the suspect, and that they do identify and neutralize the suspect. So when you do happen to encounter them in a mass homicide scenario, do what they say. Put your hands up. Don't reach for anything. Tell them the direction of the suspect, what you heard, anything that can help them. Remember that they're not going to stop and do anything to help casualties. They're not there to do that. They're there to essentially neutralize the suspect or take them into custody if possible. So just do what they say and do not be offended if for some reason you are experiencing a meltdown or shutdown throughout any of it. It's okay. You can survive this. See if you can find a place to hide that's safe. See if you can find somebody to help you. That is safe. And essentially, if you put yourself in a place that is somewhat safe, you can lock a door, you can go hide in a place where nobody really goes to, a closet, if you can remain still, if you can get somebody to help you to a place like that, it's good enough. So just keep in mind, these are just some general tactics that you can use to keep yourself alive during these situations. I know that this video was long, and I apologize. I really don't have a long attention span for videos this long, but I felt that this was an important topic to cover, especially for us neurodivergent people. It's one thing to see things on TV, but oftentimes there are no solutions given and no tips given. And being a neurodivergent law enforcement officer with some knowledge and experience on these matters, I want to share what I have, what I'm able to, so that you guys can remain safe if this happens around you. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.